In Pokemon TCG Pocket, the release of a new expansion is often what animates its community. As new cards are introduced to the card pool, many new decks and new ways of playing the game are discovered, impacting the metagame heavily. Mega Shine surprised most of us with the release of several cards which added new layers to the game, whether that is Darkrai, Mega Charizard X, or Mega Scizor. However, I'm not going to be showcasing any of these cards today. Instead, I'm going to demonstrate how a small change to an already established archetype allowed me to play second in a 643 player tournament. To understand what led me to choosing this community-hated archetype, context is required. You see, before the weekend of the big tournament, I reviewed the metagame of the first dozens of competitions since the release of Mega Shine, and here's what I gathered. First off, although it wasn't always the most popular deck, Mega Charizard had been dominating tournaments, finishing first almost 50% of the time. Seeing its dominance, people quickly started to take cards against it, the most obvious one being Oricorio. Both of these decks are known to have bad matchups against Hydreigon, therefore picking Hydreigon to counter what would possibly be the two most popular archetypes of the weekend seemed to be an obvious choice. Yet there was still one problem remaining: Chingling. Or was it? Indeed, following the release of Darkrai, sleep became a scary special condition. With the help of Darkrai, a Pokemon that was put asleep could easily receive 30 to 50 damage in between turns, which would sometimes end games turn 1. This phenomenon led to Chingling users to drastically drop, as they were scared to get donked and not even be able to play their matches properly. Now that the problem is not one anymore, let's talk about the decklist itself. As you may have already noticed, this decklist has only gone through one minor change, and that is the removal of a professor's research for a copy of Hiking Trail. Hiking Trail is the new stadium card that was released in Mega Shine. It basically has the same role as the professor's research, allowing you to draw up to 3 cards by the end of your turn. The only difference being, it can last for multiple turns, bump your opponent's stadium, be a way to refresh your cards with Copycat, and be a way to counter Mars. This card single-handedly accelerated the functionality of Hydreigon Mega Absol. Without further ado, here's the gameplay and the analysis of my game starting from the quarterfinals all the way to the finals. Enjoy! Alright guys, so here is an overview of a few games that I had throughout top 8, top 4, and top 2. I'm not going to be showcasing every game as this would be taking up way too much time, but I thought, why not show some of the games that I found interesting, talk about my plays, talk about my mistakes. So here we are currently in game 2 of the top 8 match. We are currently down 0-1 against a Suininja player. I was very surprised to see a Suininja at this point of time in the tournament. I did notice that there were a few players that were playing Suininja during day 1, but I didn't expect them to get to top 8, so props to them for that. So yeah, I'm going to be going through my process of thought. I'm not sure how to say it, but I think you guys might understand what I mean. We do use the Hiking Trail in order to accelerate our processes of drawing. We want to draw into that Hydreigon, we want to draw into that candy as fast as possible. Unfortunately, they already have their stadium in hand, so we won't profit much anymore from it. For some reason, they used Mars this early. I don't know if they were worried about a copycat, but it gave us a better hand. It gave us Sabrina in order to stall for a few more turns, considering that the opponent has no energies on board. This would also allow us to have 1 to 2 opportunities to get rid of that Cyrus, right? Because they can't attack for another 2 turns. And there it is. Cyrus is in hand, jackpot. And from that point on, the opponent is in such... It's so late into the game that it's really complicated for them to actually come back from it, to recover from it. Here, I think I will top deck Candy, which would allow me to evolve into a Hydreigon. I thought about it for a few seconds. Do I continue and hit for 80 with Mega Absol? But I went, nah, because in the case where they top deck Arita, they will bring their Suicune HP back up to 140, hence Hydreigon wouldn't be able to finish it off. So I decided to directly go into Hydreigon, deal that 130 damage, and start putting pressure on my opponents. I also keep my bench space open. I don't decide to bench immediately as it will just power up Suicune's damage. As we can see here, they decided to start charging a potential Greninja EX that will potentially come into play, and from there on I'm thinking, okay, There is a world where they double evolve into Greninja EX and normal Greninja, which would allow them to deal 120 damage, and that is scary. So I will bench the Dino just in case they somehow knock out my Hydreigon up front. And I should have used Ice Cream first, to be honest. But Dino down, Ice Pop, heads, allows me to go up to 130 HP, which does survive a ping plus 100 damage from Greninja EX. Right, so we take the knockout, grab the first 2 points of the game, and from that point on, I'm just waiting for a Cyrus. It's not, and maybe a Candy as well, because Candy is actually not enough. I also need that Cyrus to go and fetch that Ogerpon sitting on the bench. The Ogerpon to which we've dealt damage already in the beginning. I know that our opponent's Cyrus is down, so I can technically stall this with a Mega Absol after they take the knockout on Hydreigon. However, right here, right now, we're keeping that Hydreigon up front. We're not using its ability. We're not going in with Mega Absol right now. No, right, our goal is to gain time, find the cards we need, and try to finish the game off cleanly. So I'm going to let that Hydreigon up front live to gain an extra turn. Simply attach up to Mega Absol and keep that Nihilego in hand just because it's useless in this matchup. They play Ogerpon. There's no need. Here's the Greninja, which will start pinging my Mega Absol if I remember correctly. Now, what's interesting in this matchup is that I actually was scared to lose this. I had a clean path all the way to top 8, and when I saw that was against Sui Ninja, I really was not confident going into this because I knew that historically it's a pretty mid to bad matchup. At least back then, the Poison Barb does not work in this matchup, considering that my opponent plays Ogerpon. So I was quite worried. Here we draw into a Copycat, which is pretty useless, considering our opponent has only 1 card in hand. And from here on, I kinda am panicking. We deal 80 damage. The opponent has used Irida. And we really need to top deck that Candy, or else we lose. And fortunately, we will. Spoilers alert, we will. And so this match ended up to be much closer than I had anticipated, considering the advantage we had since the beginning of the game with that Sabrina, with that Cyrus discard. But in the end, we managed to win it out and find that Hydreigon to finish up game 2. Alright, so going on to top 4, I'm going to be showcasing both matches of the best of 3, and that matchup is going to be against Suicune Baxcalibur. Now, this matchup is considered to be mid to bad. It is winnable, but it's pretty difficult. However, here, and especially in this game 1, I would like to showcase to you guys the brutality of Hydreigon deck. It's absurdity, because when you draw all the cards that you need, it is literally unstoppable, and that's, one of the main reasons why people hate it, right? The turn 2 Hydreigon. If you look at our hand right now, we have literally everything we could ever want. We have a Pokeball to go grab another Pokemon. We have Copycat for next turn. We have Candy, we have Hydreigon. So the goal right now is to not bench anything just because our opponent plays Sabrina. And they would hence delay us a turn efficiently. However, we're not going to do that. We're not going to bench anything, and they don't play any disruption card, since they, instead of Mars, play a Malasada due to all the sleep scams going around here and there. The fact the opponent does not have a Frigibax down is also good news for me, as that means that they will not be they will not be able to attack this turn, forcing them to pass here, and from there on, it's just absurd. Evolve into Hydreigon, bench everything. Right now, we don't even care about the damage that they could do. There's no Frigibax, they cannot attack. And yeah, go for Copycat for 7 to 8 cards. Accidentally almost put that stadium up. Poison Barb, that's much better. Use that Pokeball. I'm actually going to keep the Ice Pops in my hand just in case I need it for Absol, because my opponent does not play any Disruption card. I'm not scared of losing them right now. And we're keeping also the Stadium to replace their Stadium, right? So if they ever want to add 20 HP at any time, we can just get rid of it. Our opponent finally finds their Frigibax, and from this point on, they're in a very dire situation. Is the best way I could describe it. They're forced to attach to that Xianpao, and here I'm open to a multitude of choices. I can either continue attacking with that Hydreigon, either expose myself with Mega Absol in exchange for a possibility of discarding a Cyrus of his, because they are currently holding 7 to 8 cards, so I'm wondering, hey, let's go get rid of that card, because there is a chance that they decide to put Xianpao up, snipe my Mega Absol, all while healing it and use Cape on it, right? To enhance it up to 150 HP. So I really wanted to get rid of the Cyrus, plus considering I had 2 Ice Creams in hand, I was quite confident with that move. I originally wanted to get rid of Sabrina, but after a little bit of thought, I got rid of PCL, as it would prevent my opponent from healing up to that 150 HP threshold. There we go. Now, one thing I did not expect, and that I should have expected, is that there's the possibility of the opponent putting down Suicune EX, retreating, Candy on onto Baxcalibur, and attacking me with Suicune EX, which inherently is very scary because I cannot one-shot it with my Hydreigon, and that means that if I don't top deck either Cyrus or miss all of my Ice Creams, this would be a losing game, especially because I did not discard their Cyrus, right? So they're going to attach energies. I'm telling myself, okay, I have Ice Creams, I can heal out of that 130 HP threshold, the Stadium's down, we can replace it if needed. And honestly, if we hadn't top deck Cyrus here, which we will, I would have just Ice Creamed, and I even kept his Stadium on the play, because it would potentially allow us to survive. But we do find Cyrus in the end. Lucky, you might say, and you're correct. Honestly, you guys would be correct about me being lucky here. But here again, it's just to show the absurdity of the deck when everything comes out perfectly. Now, going on to game 2, this game was much more dire for me than last game. We started with Nihiligo, which isn't the best, and I'm going to have a huge misplay that we're going to talk about in the end of this match. The chat went absolutely crazy, and honestly, it could have lost me the game. But here we are. The opponent uses his research, uses their Pokeball, second Pokeball, are going to put everything down. And it's looking very scary for me, because I need to find my Dino, which we will. We do find 2 Pokeballs. I decided to actually use both Pokeballs because I want to find that candy as soon as possible. If we had only 1 Pokeball though, I would have used research in order to have more odds to find that Dino. So from here on, I decide to bench that Dino. I don't bench the Mega Absol because it's not needed yet, and the Stadium will keep it in hand to discard their Stadium when the time comes. Now, I did think that there was a world where they could stay in front if they had Cape in order to try and start sniping on the next turn, but I guess they did not have the cards and Suicune in front in order to draw more cards. And here it's starting to get difficult, right? We don't have any candy next turn. They can possibly knock us out by benching one more Pokemon. We need and absolutely need right now a backup attacker in case we don't have any candy, which is going to be which is going to explain my Sabrina play and my Absol bench, right? Sabrina in order to delay our opponents a little bit, hoping that they don't have Candy, Baxcalibur, Boat, and the bench with Absol, attaching it energy, just in case that they do have everything they need to take the knockout on Danny Heligo. We do see the Candy onto Baxcalibur. And as the situation looked like they did not have any boat, they should have used research first just in case they had boats. But all good. Starting planes. Starting planes actually allow Nihilego to survive a hit if they were to hit with that Suicune, if they do not bench any more Pokemon, which is quite interesting. We could also, whenever we want, replace that stadium with ours. They don't have any disruption cards, so I'm not really scared to hold on to it right now. Ultimately, they are going to retreat onto that Suicune and get ready to hit next turn, attaching energy to the Xianpao to potentially hit for 130. Poison Barb is going to go on Mega Absol just because it's our only viable attacker right now, and I do decide to go for the retreat onto Absol and the attack on that Suicune, not only to put a little bit of pressure, but also to potentially, once again, discard that Cyrus of theirs, considering that they have 5 to 6 cards in hands. Furthermore, I'm not really scared to do that because Ice Pop. That's right, I believe in the X factor of Pocket. I believe that Ice Pop will save me in the end. At least I'm more confident with it, right? There it is. Cyrus gone. Now, it is true that it could be worrisome if they come and hit us for 100 on that Mega Absol. Ice Pop will need to pop off for us. But, they're going to go for another play. They're going to go for Sabrina. If I remember correctly, they mentioned to me how that was a misclick. I think they wanted to heal instead. But what's happened. And yeah, they're just going to go ahead and take the knockout right here, right now. And we're about to to enter the turn where I made a huge misplay, a misplay which I realized could have lost me the game, but not only the game, also as well as the whole best of 3. Because in the end here, I am in a quite advantageous position. So here, obviously, we go for a copycat in order to try to find our Candy Hydreigon. However, I decide to take the knockout with my Hydreigon. Why is that an issue? Our opponent hasn't used Cape yet. They could technically put a Cape on their Xianpao. With that Xianpao, they can snipe my Mega Absol, which is on the bench, twice in a row because they almost have no more cards left into their deck, and that is very possible for them in the next few turns. And as you can see, that is what's going to happen. They're going to put their Xianpao up, charge it with Baxcalibur and an energy from their energy zone, and are going to snipe that Mega Absol. I'll let the clip show here what happened, and when it catches up to what I've just mentioned, I'll go on and continue to explain what I should have done. So here, as you can see, they have both Baxcalibur set up, meaning that they can chain those 130s back to back. And from there on, I was only reliant really on Ice Pop to win the game. What I should have done, because my Poison Barb and my only Poison Barb was on Mega Absol, was to let Mega Absol stay up front, take the knockout with Mega Absol, meaning that even with the Poison Barb, if they were to snipe my Mega Absol, the poison damage plus Hydreigon would be able to finish it off. And if they were to snipe my Hydreigon behind, they will be just wasting a huge amount of momentum, right? So this misplay almost lost me the game, and you guys probably understand that when I say almost, means that I, in the end, won the game thanks to Lucky Ice Pop. Lucky Ice Pop made it so my misplay was not punished, and that's the main reason why people are mad. People don't like this deck, right? They mention how it's all luck. But I assure you, luck is part of TCG Pocket, especially considering that there's only 20 cards. There's much more luck involved than other TCGs, but skill still prevails. So yeah, we're going to be able to heal up to 140, meaning that our opponent cannot take the knockout here, even with another blow with Xianpao. And from there on, they're kind of flabbergasted about that situation. I would be as well, to be honest. And we will take the game from there on. All right, so for the finals, we're going to be on the point of view of King Kakush, who was my opponent for this grand finals, playing Oricorio Manectric. Now, we're on his point of view because mine is not available, but also because they made a play that was much more interesting to analyze. Unfortunately, we cannot see the hand of both players, but I don't think that's going to matter much. Fortunately for them, and that's probably the only way for them to win against me, against a Hydreigon matchup, they start with Pichu on turn 1, which would allow them to start charging up that Electrike and start aggressing, putting pressure onto me if I don't find any other Mons, if I don't find any Hydreigon. So the play by him here is going to be quite simple. Charge up that Electrike. They have Manectric in hand, and start applying pressure. There it is, attaching to that Manectric. Now, on my side, it was quite complicated. By the end of the turn, I was able to bench a Dino, which would save me from getting donked. However, Candy was not in hand. I had research for next turn, but a very dire situation. The only way I could really win was to find Hydreigon Candy combo by the next turn. We decided to attach to the back here, just because if he does take the knockout with Manectric, which they will, I have a possibility of charging that Hydreigon and potential Mega Absol behind. So we see the copycat here by King Kakush, who is going to find Manectric and is going to take the knockout immediately. There it is. Energy attachments, retreat, and the knockout for the first point. From there on, I'm really just hoping to get back into the game with a Candy Hydreigon. I think I already had Candy in hand. I was just missing Hydreigon, either one way or the other. We will go for research to try and find that, which we will be able to. And here it is, Candy onto Hydreigon, and we're going to be able to hit for 130. Now, we have to consider the following things. I currently have 3 cards in hand. I did not bench anything. Had Cyrus, Sabrina, and some other card which I forgot. My opponent here, King Kakush, has multiple choices. Either they retreat, but would lose on the long term if I'm able to find Cyrus, which I did have in my hand, or they go for the attack, making me go down to 120 to only 10 HP, and that means I have to find another way than Hydreigon in order to take the knockout. Either I find Ice Cream, they know that I don't have Ice Cream because I didn't use it, or I would have used it last turn if I had Ice Cream, or I find another Pokemon. In this case, I had no more Dinos. I could find Nihilego, I could find Mega Absol. In any case, King Kakush here did the right choice because ultimately, on the long run, if they did not attack, I would probably have won the game even if I didn't have Cyrus in hand. And here, although I had 50% chance, more than 50% chance of top decking what I needed to win the game, whether that is Research, Copycat, a Pokemon, or even Ice Pop, I drew into Poison Barb, and ultimately that meant that this game was over for me. I'm going to use game 2 as a background just for the outro because of how fast it actually went. I lost within 3 minutes. But yeah, props to Kinkakuj. And yeah, I decided to post this video because why not? I performed pretty well on the Pocket Match. It's the first time I performed that well in one of his tournaments. So very happy of the performance. I know that a lot of people actually hate the deck and, were cheering the fact that Kinkakuj won, and they should. Honestly, it's pretty insane how they brought a brand new card to the top on the first weekend of the set's release. But yeah, I wanted to give my thanks to everybody who's supporting, who's watching. I don't know if I'm gonna keep doing this on a regular basis, and the channel's vision is probably to just post when I'm performing or when I'm doing decent with, goofy decks. But yeah, that's about all. Thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you guys another time. Goodbye.